Hello, and thanks a lot for passing by my poster. So I would like to take the chance to walk you through it. My name is Eman Ibrahim, and my poster is with the title Pharmacokinetic Pharmacodynamic Modeling of Leukocyte Dynamics and Lymph Node Size in Chronic Lymphocytic Leukemia Patients Treated with Ibrutinib. Ibrutinib is an oral irreversible inhibitor of protein tyrosine kinase, which plays a crucial role in B cell survival and proliferation upon its phosphorylation through PCR signaling. In phase 1b/2 study of ibrutinib, patients with persistent lymphocytosis had a longer progression-free survival than the patients without. So the aim here was to build up a population PK/PD model characterizing the relationship between systemic exposure to ibrutinib and the phosphorylated BTK, while quantifying mechanistically the relationship of the latter with both leukocyte kinetics and SPD measurements in order to investigate the relationship between the variables and identify predictors for lymphocytosis and how it is connected to the outcome. The model was built up based on data that we got from phase 1b/2 study of ibrutinib, including plasma concentrations, leukocyte, and SPD measurements. The daily AUCs were driven using a previously developed POP-PK model. So let's have a look together on the model structure. The phosphorylated BTK was implemented as a relative quantity in a turnover model where its production was inhibited by ibrutinib using an Imax model as a function of a daily AUCs. The CLL cells in lymph nodes and blood, together with the SPD, were divided into two colonies, where the first colony is dependent on PCR signaling for proliferation and survival, while the second colony is dependent on it for proliferation but not survival. In other words, exposure to ibrutinib will result in inhibiting completely the proliferation of the CLL cells in the lymph nodes for the first colony, together with inducing the redistribution of the cells to the blood and inhibiting their homing back to the lymph nodes, and induce the apoptosis of the cells in both lymph nodes and blood. While for the second colony, the exposure to ibrutinib will also inhibit completely the proliferation of the CLL cells in the lymph node, but induce the redistribution of the cells and inhibiting their homing to a lower extent given the model estimated parameters. And it will induce the death or the apoptosis of the cells in the blood only, but not in the lymph nodes. Finally, the observed leukocyte count was calculated as the sum of the CLL cells in the first and the second colonies and the normal leukocytes in the blood divided by the blood volume. And the observed SPD was calculated at the sum of the first and the second colonies. And for model evaluation, as you can see here, through the visual predictive checks plots of the developed models, the leukocyte on the left-hand side and the SPD on the right-hand side. The models have a reasonable predictive ability for the median of the observations with some misspecifications, and the work is still in progress. Our next step is to extend this model framework to include dropout model, describe the time course of blood pressure, explore the ability of the predicted time courses of both leukocytes and SPD to predict progression-free and overall survival using parametric time-to-event models. As a conclusion, the final framework can be used as a tool to identify predictors for outcome and optimize the adherence to the therapy. Finally, thanks a lot for listening and looking forward to seeing you all during the live questions and answers sessions on the 6th of September from 12 to 1 p.m. And if you have any question or comment, you are welcome to contact me through my email down here. And thanks again.